It's Tuesday, August 14th, 2013. I am freshly back from XDA DevCon, the very first XDA DevCon in Miami, and I thought I would give you a quick recap of the event. XDA DevCon was a two-day event, sort of, from August 9th through the 11th in Miami, Florida, as I mentioned. I had the distinct honor of being asked by XDA to come down to Miami and participate and film some stuff and take some pictures and all that fun stuff, and I thought I would sort of bundle that all up into one video here for you guys today. To start things off, I flew down to Miami on Friday the 9th, early in the morning. Took the entire day to make the flight, but whatever. Got all checked in at the hotel, got all checked in with DevCon. Didn't have a badge, but you know, we make do. Got my nifty swag bag full of XDA DevCon t-shirt, Oppo t-shirt, Sony t-shirt, and miscellaneous various and sundry other stuff. Rested for a little while and then headed to the XDA DevCon exclusive reception. Effectively, this was a dinner event that happened the night before DevCon started, where the sponsors, the speakers, the staff, everybody kind of got together and mingled, and I think a few just attendees as well were there. And like I said, just mingled, talked, hung out, and had a really awesome dinner. The next morning, Saturday, bright and early, I managed to get up and headed down for the opening ceremonies. XDA's own Jared Dog, who has been he spearheaded pretty much the event. He did most of the organizing, and he was kind of the backbone to the majority of the event. He did the opening, he welcomed everybody, and really it was a room full of over 100 people, and he welcomed them all to the event, welcomed all of us to the event, got everything kicked off, and got us started with the first presentation. Throughout the rest of the day, I went back and forth between being in the one presentation hall, because unlike most other events I've been to, there was one presentation hall, had one presentation going on at a time, and then one hallway outside that had all of the sponsors, all of the event coordinating type people in one place. So there was actually a lot less confusion, less chaos than I'm used to seeing at different conferences, because there's one hallway where everything was located, and at the end of that hallway is the conference room where you could go for all of the presentation type stuff. Very straightforward, very much to the point, and at the end of that presentation room there were two tables filled with extraordinarily awesome prizes, which was just sort of a cap off to the event, realistically. At the end of presentations, different people from XDA would give out prizes to people who were sitting in the audience. People specifically would ask questions, and the people who asked good questions would be given something of value. Occasionally it was just a random drawing based on names of people that were in the room, things like that. And during the course of Saturday, I witnessed some excellent presentations. I mean, these were really top quality, developer-oriented presentations. I've been to, like I said, several other conferences in the past, and the grand majority of things I go to, there tend to be these 10,000 foot level presentations, very high level, very not technically detailed, and these presentations for the most part were extremely detailed, focused, to the point. And I can say some of the ones that really jumped out at me from day one happened to be from Sony in particular, talking about a little bit about the Sony Smartwatch 2 that's going to be coming out. They talked about the Smartwatch Open Watch initiative that they are doing with Arduino. They talked about the Android 4.3 update cycle and how the update cycles have changed in the past. That's actually sort of the basis for a story that XDA had a while back that was based off of an article over on the Sony blog. Just definitely an interesting presentation. Hopefully all of these video presentations that were done are going to be put on the XDA Roundtable channel at some point. I don't know specifically about any of that because I don't have any of the footage, but I saw a camcorder there. Things were being recorded. The things I recorded were just kind of little snippets here and there to be able to splice in so you guys can see it. And the other presentation from that day that really jumped out at me, John O'Bacon, the community manager for Canonical, for Ubuntu specifically, did a presentation talking about the future of Ubuntu, the future of the PC, the future of mobile with Ubuntu, with convergence of all of these platforms. Now, a lot of people don't tend to go in the direction of thinking that everything's going to converge. Specifically with Ubuntu, that's the plan as far as I understand it, and it's something I've been kind of suggesting as far as Android for quite a long time. I would like to see Android and Chrome OS join forces so that when you take an Android device and plug it into something, you get the Chrome OS experience, and when you take it and hook it to a TV, maybe you get the Chromecast experience. And anyway, this is the same kind of thing that's going to be happening with Ubuntu through Canonical's work. So I'm glad to see at least somebody's doing that. And so it was very interesting to get to see Jono's presentation there, and later in the day it was followed up by Michael Hall giving a presentation on developing apps for Ubuntu Touch, wherein he demonstrated an XDA developers forum app that he wrote, which just interacts with the APIs that are publicly available for the XDA forum. Doesn't have any authentication or anything, but it allows you to view the forums, view all the posts inside the forums, things like that. And we got to see, as people in the audience, how that was done, step by step, and how he did it in like 2 days' time. Now, there were definitely other presentations that happened that day. I did not go to every single one of them. I was sort of, like I said, back and forth between the hallway, talking to all of the sponsors, talking to all of the people in the audience, and then back into, to view some presentations, eating the really good food that they had for lunch, the cookies they provided in the afternoon, because at heart I am still definitely a fat guy. And then after it was all said and done, 6 o'clock came around, or actually it was earlier than that when we were all said and done. Went out and got some food with the family, came back to the after party, as it were, up on the 25th floor of the hotel, which for some reason or another is the lobby of the hotel. There was an after party where everybody, there was an open bar, free drinks, hors d'oeuvres, little bits of food here and there, and a lot of people from the conference were there just hanging out, talking, and having fun. And that was honestly one of the more memorable experiences of the entire event for me, because during that time, for one, I got to try on Google Glass, which thanks Keith Myers out there for allowing me to do that. And later in the night, he allowed Jono Bacon to try it on, which was a priceless experience. I wish that I'd had my DSLR out for that one. Someone else there in the crowd, a friend of mine, had his cell phone camera out, and if I can get that footage, I'm going to try to get him to upload it somewhere. But just seeing Jono put the Google Glass on and start navigating the web with it, and then end up going to YouTube to search for some heavy metal, and then hearing that heavy metal pounding through his head through the bone induction audio, that was just priceless. I mean, it can't even really put it into words. Now, apparently, after the after party, there was an after party, which I missed because I am a little old man, and I went back to the room to spend time with my family and go to bed early. Yeah. The next morning, of course, I got up bright and early again, went to some more presentations. I was specifically impressed by Pearl Chen's talk about NFC. Unfortunately, I missed that talk when she gave it at the Big Android Barbecue, but like I said, she gave the same kind of presentation at this year's XDA DevCon, so I was very pleased to be in the very front row for that one. And when she gave her demonstration of NFC, just sort of showing the viral nature of it and showing the interconnectivity, the connectedness you get with that, it was really an interesting experience, because it was essentially she walks up to me with her phone, tap phones, I get the application she's providing to me, I tap my neighbor, everybody starts tapping each other's phones, and before you know it, 3 minutes later, pretty much everybody in the room that had a smartphone had this application running on it. Now, I can't honestly say I still have the app. I think it's called Space Team. It's sort of a viral, local Bluetooth or Wi-Fi enabled game that it didn't really mesh with me, but still, it for the sake of the conference, for the sake of proving the point, it definitely got the point across of just how how NFC can work and how viral in nature it can be. And it did resonate with me so much that later on in the conference, Jeremy Mice was showing me something on his phone, and he said, "Here, I'll email you the link to this YouTube video." And I said, NFC. And I held up my phone, he sent me the link, and I immediately had this video. It was a Doctor Who related video, and now I can go back and watch it whenever because NFC sent it to me. Some other presentations that were very memorable from that day were, in my experience at least, Stormy Peters, the former head of the GNOME Foundation and currently working for Firefox OS, talking about bringing the next 2 billion people online using mobile devices and sort of the future of development, specifically with regard to HTML5. Sort of covering the whole, if you're developing an app, a lot of times you'll end up choosing iOS or Windows Mobile, or in most people's cases, Android. At least most people, you guys, Android. And sort of saying, why would you pick one or the other when you could do HTML5, which will do all of the above? You've pretty much all of these platforms have Firefox or Chrome enabled for them, and you can pretty much on any of them run HTML5 apps. So why would you not do it this way? And specifically with the Aurora version of Firefox and adding to that the ability to access the Firefox Marketplace, why would you not develop apps for that marketplace and have them be pushed out in that way, and develop it one time and have it run everywhere? Not sure if I go 100% along with that, but yeah, that's sort of the way that Firefox OS seems to think the future is going to go. So if that's something that sounds interesting to you, I'm sure more information can be found on it over on the Firefox site. And actually, during that time, during that presentation, they fed us lunch, which was just awesome. Very large sandwiches and lots of them. And being a formerly fat guy at least, or it's still kind of a heavy guy, if you feed me a large lunch and then put me in a room in a comfortable chair, what am I going to do? I'm going to fall asleep. And so I did. Unfortunately, this happened during Justin Jay Case's presentation on Android vulnerabilities and exploits. Really interesting, really entertaining presentation. Something actually kind of similar to the one that Adam Outler and I gave at the Big Android Barbecue last year, but so much more detailed than we could ever go, and I slept through part of it. Still, very entertaining presentation. Lots of great information there, lots of great questions asked, and as per the usual, with great questions come great prizes that were given. But anyway, throughout the rest of the day, I went back and forth between presentations and between all the sponsors out in the hallway. Got a chance to spend some time and hang out with the Canonical guys and the guys from Oppo and from Sony. Yes, I even got my picture taken at the cPanel booth at one point, and this may have been on Saturday. Days all sort of run together with the lightsaber. And in case I hadn't said it enough, just a great time overall was had. And at the very end, they even had a Twitter contest whereby you put in a tweet for your favorite presentation, and those that were chosen from the best tweets or the most unique tweets, most entertaining, would win some sort of a prize from their prize tables. And luckily, I was one of the ones that ended up getting picked for the mid-tier prizes, and I ended up walking away with a Sphero, like I said earlier. And actually, I ended up using Twitter twice this weekend because between the Sphero contest entry, Oppo was also having a bit of a sort of a contest where if you made a funny face on camera, like this one, then you tweet it out with a certain hashtag, they would give you this little guy. This is Ollie, the Oppo mascot. I thought that my son would love this, so I definitely went ahead to make a fool out of myself over on Google Plus and ended up coming home with it, and my son didn't take it. He said, "Oh, that's cute," and then walked away. But anyway, as I was saying, the entire event was extremely well organized, well coordinated, excellent food, great location, very small, very intimate, but at the same time extremely technically in-depth, very developer organized and very developer focused. I mean, if you had to choose an event to go to, this is definitely one that I would suggest go to if you are a developer, and specifically an Android developer, but it doesn't have to be that way. Ubuntu Touch was a huge focus for this event, and I could definitely see something like Windows Mobile or really whatever other mobile OS, Firefox OS, Chrome OS, being focused on in the future as well. And I'm definitely hoping that one of these happens again at some point in the future, and I hope to be lucky enough to be able to go along as well. All in all, I would say for a first developer conference, this was a pretty decent success. Thanks again so much to the guys at XDA that organized this event. Thanks so much for allowing me to come along and be a part of it. It was an amazing journey for me. And I hope you all have enjoyed the footage and the pictures and everything I've been able to show you here. It was definitely not enough to really showcase the full brunt of the event, but it sort of gives you that little overview and hopefully will entertain you and make you interested in going the next time they have one, if we do end up having another one. Hopefully we will have another one. But I think that's going to be about all from me for today. As always, if you like this video, do make sure to hit that like button down below. Share it with your friends on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, or wherever else you choose to share things. If you want them to know about XDA DevCon, maybe we can have a larger event the next time. Subscribe to receive all of our content as soon as it becomes available here. Anyway though, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again on Friday.